Good morning, Felicia.
Morning, Jeff. Why did you bring me to the woods so early in the morning? And where in the world are we?
Well, we are at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve, very close by to where we live, and it's still kind of hot this time of year. So I figured the earlier we get here, the better chance we have of not sweating to death. Because we chose to live here in Central Florida.
Okay, I can accept that, I guess.
All right, I'll probably let you talk a little bit about the history. Maybe that'll make things a little bit better. But let's head out on the trail a little bit, see what there is, and perhaps we'll stop and take a break and we'll talk a little bit more about the history of this place and what you can actually do here.
Sounds great.
One of our favorite things to come see here at Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve is this large tortoise they have. His name is Darwin. I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but I think he's been around for several decades. And just about every time I come here, he's wandering around. He's actually pretty active for a tortoise.
So, one thing we want to mention, there is a boardwalk over part of the trails here at Lake Butler Preserve, but it does get extremely wet. It is a swamp that we're in the middle of, right? So a couple of years ago when we came, this water was up to about where I'm standing right now, just standing water throughout the marsh and the swamp. We haven't seen it that way in a couple of years, so our guess is that maybe they did a little bit of drainage work through here to kind of keep it from doing that. But either way, it's always going to be wet. It's a marsh, a swamp that empties into a lake. So you're going to definitely want to make sure that you're wearing sensible footwear and footwear that you don't mind getting wet, and maybe even bring a pair of shoes if you're planning on going someplace else afterwards so that you can change out of your wet shoes into something that's dry.
There are some areas that are blocked off, so just make sure you stay on the marked trails. Felicia, do you hear that?
Hear what, Jeff?
Well, nothing. That's my point. That's one of the good reasons to get here so early in the morning. Tibet-Butler is never all that crowded, but especially if you get here early in the morning, it's usually pretty quiet. It is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. 365 days a year, and there is ample parking. I've never been here where they couldn't find a place to park, and it's free to get in.
Right? The only time I would say parking might be a little bit of a challenge. The office here is a polling place for Orange County.
Yeah.
So on election day or election days, if there's a different kind of election going on, challenging parking might be a little bit of a challenging at that point. But otherwise, it seems like it's plenty of parking. Might not be quite so quiet on those days too.
All right. Well, since it is so quiet right now, let's head down the trail a little bit further.
Great.
I did want to mention that these trails are located very nearby to Disney and the Magic Kingdom. We're only a couple of miles away. So if that is why you're visiting Central Florida and you want to come over here for a couple hours or even shorter than that before you head into the parks, it is not pet friendly, so please do not bring your pets. But you are allowed to jog on the trails. We've probably seen, what, 3 or 4 people out running this morning so far. So it is a good quick break from the parks if that's what you're doing in the area. We've made it to the end of the second boardwalk. There are several different trails that you can take while you're out here. I believe about 3.6 miles worth, but this is the main one. Everybody heads out here because they want to see the lake. This is Lake Butler. That's behind us over here. We're still out kind of in the marshy area, but it does open up beyond that. And it's a private lake, a lot of nice, gorgeous homes that are around the side of it. But I think it's probably a good opportunity to take a quick break and let's talk about the history of this place.
Okay, well, it's wildlife, so there's not really a ton of history to it, right?
Yeah.
So between 86 and 87, 1986 and 1987, Orange County did purchase this land for the specific purpose of making it a wildlife reserve. So when you come here, one thing to note, we never see a ton of actual wildlife. We hear a lot of wildlife, but they're pretty elusive as far as keeping themselves well hidden in their natural environment. So something to think about too is following the rules of nature preserves. Of course, anything you bring in with you, you should be taking out with you, those kind of things. Jeff did mention it's 3.6 miles of trail. And when you sign into the book, if you sign in with how many miles you have done, after 20 miles, they'll actually offer you a Trailblazer t-shirt. We just learned that today, and we've been here a lot. You've been here a lot more than I have. You've definitely
done well over 20 miles. Yeah.
So you should definitely look into getting your t-shirt for that, right? Yeah. 438 acres is the current size of Tibet-Butler Wildlife Preserve. So as you can see, a lot of marsh, a lot of swamp, some boardwalks, some very wet trails, those kind of things. If you've seen the movie or read the book Where the Crawdad Sings, this is just pretty much what I would envision that being in my head as I read that book. So if you want some quiet time and you just kind of want to feel one with nature, this would be a great place to do it.
Yeah, and I would say the trails are very well maintained. Like we said, they can be a little bit wet, but they're totally open and clear. There are some roots and things like that going across it. I don't think I'd call it wheelchair friendly, but...
Well, the main trail, I think, would be. I think the main trail, you could do that, but as soon as you go off on those little offshoots like the Osprey Trail, which is what we're on right now, I don't think you'd want to, if you have any mobility issues at all, I don't think you'd want to be back in here. Another thing is there is a trail that's been closed for some time. The Palmetto Trail has been closed probably upwards of a year now. They've put in a new bridge down there. We suspect that might be some of why the drainage has improved, because they've have done some work down that trail. Even though that trail's not barricaded, there is a sign at the front that told us today that that trail is closed. Whether that's just a today thing or whether that's a it's closed thing, but it's been closed for a long time, so it wouldn't surprise us if it were closed, you know, for the foreseeable future.
Yep, and I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the modern world is intruding on my peaceful morning. There was an airplane going by. All right, so let's head out. Hopefully that plane passes by here quickly and enjoy the rest of the quiet morning. Well, we made it about halfway down the Palmetto Trail. Up front, it had said it was closed, but when we came across the turnoff for it, there weren't any signs. There was no rope across the trail like there sometimes is. But we made it partway down the trail, and as you can see, it's blocked from this point forward. I did want to mention this bridge that we're standing on is newly built. The first time we came here a couple of years ago, there was a log that you and I had to...
You had to balance yourself on, like, you know, a log. You felt like a cartoon going across the marshy part on a log.
Right. So I think this was part of that whole project. Like I said, complete guess. I haven't seen anything official where they've worked on the drainage around here because first time we ever came was around this time of year and it was super wet. And right now it's a little bit wet. Like we said, we're good shoes, but it's not that bad at all. So I guess we're going to have to do a U-turn here and head back up the trail. Can you believe it? Felicia just made it through that whole section and didn't even trip and fall down.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? So behind us is the pollinator garden here at Tibet-Butler. This time of year, and it's late fall right now, this time of year it's not very colorful and fragrant and all those kind of things, but if you come in the spring, this is really, really cool. It's just kind of a open area that has lots of butterflies and lots of colorful flowers and bees, bumblebees, those kind of things. Off to the side are some smaller tortoises as well as a box turtle too, so definitely something to check out if you're coming here.
Just outside the environmental center is a little small playground and a picnic area. Just remember to clean up after yourself when you're all done.
So when you first pull into the parking lot here at Tibet-Butler Preserve, the first thing you're going to see is this building behind us. This is the Vera Carter Environmental Center. Vera Carter was an Orange County commissioner sometime around the time that this was built. The inside has some really neat wildlife exhibits and those kind of things. The outside is a wraparound porch with Adirondack chairs and benches and, you know, little tables where you could just come and sit and enjoy nature as well. So let's take you inside so that you can have a look.
All right, let's go.
So one thing to note, there are guide maps right here by the giant sign when you first come from the environmental center and headed out to the trails. You just open this, reach in, and there's a whole entire trail map. We didn't grab one on our way in because we've been here so many times that we know our way around, but if you don't, this would be something to take or even something to grab as a souvenir as you're headed home from your vacation.
All right, well, it's getting a little bit later in the morning, starting to get a little hot, so we should probably head home. But do you have any final thoughts about Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve before we do that?
You know, I love it here. It's really quiet. It's really just, you feel like you're definitely one with nature when you're here. Again, not a lot of sightings of wildlife around here because they do stay pretty well hidden, but evidence of wildlife is all around you.
All right, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll have more videos coming to you from the Central Florida region in the near future. So as always, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.
Bye, darling. See you next time. Try not to miss us too much. Enjoy your grass and your lettuce.